Hello and welcome to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, for the match review of Barcelona against Sporting in the Champions League group stage, which ended 1-0 in Barcelona's favour. We're just about getting over the line in this one, and once again, like I said on the weekend against Girona, I came on, I said one football app users will be wishing that they could select own goal as their man of the match. And I'll tell you what, we're sitting here in exactly the same situation. It's that man again that's cropped up. The own goal has gone in our favour, and luckily tonight, just after half-time, we took the lead and we were just about able to hang on to it. But it was a really nervy end of the game. Sporting, particularly in that second half, particularly in the final sort of third of the game, they were really going for it. They were putting the pressure on. We were struggling really to keep hold of the ball in that stage of the game, and we just about got there in the end. But in the end, we did record a vital 3 points, which sees us go clear at the top of Group D in our Champions League group, and giving us a very, very strong chance, of course, of qualifying for the knockout stage, as we always expect. But it was a difficult night tonight. Valverde started an interesting lineup. I think we were all surprised to see the likes of Sergio Roberto in the team in addition to the three midfielders. And we were sort of looking at it before the game. I was on here with my lineup reaction video, and I was sort of intrigued to see how that would sort of pan out in the game. Where would Sergio Roberto play? And quite early on, it was quite clear that he was playing in that right wing position. We've seen him there in a few times in the past. But as the game went on, it was quite flexible. At times, Sergio Roberto dropped in. And I thought in the first half particularly, Sergio Roberto played really well. You know, he was getting on the ball, he was very comfortable, he was even linking up down that right-hand side with Nelson Semedo. But the one thing to note from that first half, really, was just how defensive Sporting were. Jorge Jesus, their coach, clearly had an idea in his head about the way he wanted to play us. They were very deep in the pitch, they were soaking up pressure, and particularly their two centre-halves. Coates, of course, ex-Liverpool, didn't work out for him in the Premier League, and of course Jeremy Mathieu, who of course had a difficult end to his Barcelona career. Both of those players really well performing on the night, even though Coates got the own goal. Sporting in general, with Coentrao at left back, the ex-Real Madrid player, of course, on loan at Sporting from Real Madrid. They were really strong at the back, and they did keep us at bay for most of the game in general. Particularly that first half, we were putting the pressure on, we were creating some chances, but when we did finally get down to it, we were either missing the target entirely, Luis Suarez was guilty of that, or Rui Patricio was getting there and keeping us out. But I think we started the game pretty much well enough. We certainly dominated the ball in that first half. We were very comfortable in possession, the likes of Iniesta and Busquets trying to play out through midfield, trying to really create something from deep. And like I say, we did have chances in the final third. There was one moment where Lionel Messi played a fantastic through pass. You know exactly the one I mean. You know, he's looking outside, he's looking for the run of Jordi Alba. He finds him, Alba plays it across the box, and Luis Suarez puts it wide. In the end, it was ruled out for offside anyway, but Luis Suarez missing a really good chance right in front of goal, and he really should have tucked it away, offside or not. And that just sort of shows where we're at the moment. I think at times we play okay, we play quite well, but then in front of goal at times we do miss that cutting edge, that clinical nature. And of late, Lionel Messi's been providing it, he's been getting the goals, but just as the goals for Messi have dried up just a little bit, not his fault of course, he can't be expected to provide the goals all of the time. We need to have some source of goals from elsewhere. The likes of Suarez need to step up, and I was quite surprised tonight to see Deulofeu left out of the squad, not only out of the starting 11, but he was left out of the squad entirely. He watched the game from the stands, he wasn't even on the bench, and I just think tonight we could have done with maybe that outlet on the right wing, because Sporting were very disciplined defensively. They didn't really have a lot of intent on attacking the game. They had Seydou Doumbia up front, who is basically just trying to run the channels, trying to get in behind, and early on they did cause us a few problems. The likes of Martins as well, very pacey winger on the right hand side, but I think in general Jordi Alba handled him very well indeed. Piqué didn't start the game too well. He had a few moments where he was trying to play catch up, he committed a few fouls, but in general as the game went on he progressed, he got a bit better, he seemed to grow in a bit of confidence. In that first half there was an interesting moment just before half time. Seydou Doumbia, who I was just discussing, he went past Piqué into the area, flung himself to the floor, and then it was adjudged that he had dived, and in the process of doing that, in the process of diving, he actually injured himself in the process, and on half time then he was substituted for Bas Dost. Dost who came on for the second half. So a really interesting moment there. Doumbia diving, and as well as getting a yellow card, he got himself an injury. And I must say, it serves him right. And that wasn't the only controversial moment. There was a number of times that Sporting went in on challenges. There was a lot of yellow cards for them. They were really, really dirty on the night. Some of the challenges were absolutely appalling. They also had a few dives as well. William Carvalho, he dived when Sergio Busquets went in to tackle him. That was not acceptable either. And I just think in general, Sporting came into the game trying to soak up the pressure. And to be fair to Jorge Jesus, their tactic actually worked, because in the final 20 minutes, they had a few chances, particularly through Martins. There was a chance in the second half where Dost sort of laid it off to him. Ter Stegen saving brilliantly. That was a real match-winning moment from Ter Stegen. But I just think in that second half, we completely lost control of the game. And I don't really know why it happened. I think Rakitic throughout the game didn't have his best night. His touch was off. There was a lot of stray passes from his side that wasn't going well. It also wasn't sticking up top. You know, it was going up to Suarez. But again, we were losing possession. There was a few offsides again. It was quite a stop-start game throughout the entire contest, really. And we just didn't really keep that control, keep that flow in the second half. But luckily, like I did mention earlier, the goal did come just after half-time in the 49th minute. It was Coates who put the ball past his own keeper. It was a really nice delivery, though, by Lionel Messi. It was out on the right-hand side. Semedo had won the free kick. It was a free kick as well. There was no doubt about that. Messi swinging it in. It was an in-swinging ball. Suarez was going for it as well. Originally, it looked like maybe it had gone off Suarez, but it was indeed a Coates own goal. And luckily on the night, that was enough for us. You know, that own goal gave us a bit of momentum. But after that, we sort of retweeted. We were sort of a little bit comfortable on the ball. We were a little bit too comfortable in some ways, because we didn't really try to progress. We didn't really try to create chances. We were just happy to move the ball around, and things got a bit lethargic. Things got a bit predictable in midfield. And I think I was very, very surprised on the night, really, with how long Valverde waited to actually make a substitution. He didn't make his first sub, which was Paulinho, until the 80th minute. And I was really, really shocked at that, because I was expecting either Paulinho to come on or Denis Suarez. Just something a bit different, something to refresh the team. But I think Valverde on the night, to be perfectly fair to him, I think he waited too long. I just think he should have brought somebody on sooner. He could have brought a little bit of Denis Suarez off the bench. He had Andre Gomez there. He brought Paulinho on, and he could have just done it a bit sooner, just to sort of absorb that Sporting pressure, because it was quite clear from about the 70th minute they were really gaining some momentum. They were really starting to come on to us. Our midfield were clearly struggling. I'm sure Iniesta was feeling a bit tired. I'm sure Busquets was as well. They played a lot of minutes over the last few games, and I think they were starting to feel a bit tired in their legs. It was an away stadium. They'd probably done a lot of running throughout the game, and I just think we could have done with refreshing the team a bit sooner than he did. But Paulinho did come on 10 minutes from time, and he did offer us something different. And this is where I want to see Paulinho coming off the bench, giving us a different sort of aspect. He came on, he looked fresh, he looked ready, and he did have a chance to make it 2-0, and that would have killed the game entirely. He was one-on-one, played in, one-on-one with Rui Patricio, and it was a good save in the end from the Portuguese goalkeeper. Paulinho certainly did give us something different when he came on. Andre Gomez then came on for Sergio Roberto, who was quite a bit quieter in that second half. He lost the ball a few times, possibly a bit of tired legs on his part as well. Andre Gomez coming on with just a few minutes to go, and then Luis Suarez as substitute just about 2 minutes before the end of the game. On came Alex Vidal, who was booked very shortly after as well for a bit of an offence with the referee. But I think it was an interesting encounter. I think it showed us a lot about what we have to do, what we have to grow as the season goes on. I think right now we're not at our best, but at the end of the day we're winning matches, and I don't think this win should be overrated or underrated. I think at the end of the day it's 3 points. I think you've got to take into account that it's away in the Champions League. Whatever team you go to, whatever stadium you go to in the Champions League, it's not easy. These are away games. Even under Pep, you know, when we were flying, they were still difficult games. You go away to these stadiums, and sometimes teams are tough to break down. Teams are tough to sort of get a big win against. And I think tonight we should celebrate the 3 points. It wasn't a fantastic performance. We didn't blow Sporting away. But at the end of the day, we got what we came for. The 3 points, the win is in the bag. We're firmly top of the group now. 3 points ahead of Sporting, 3 points ahead of Juventus, and just a bit more positivity and momentum going into the weekend's game against Las Palmas before the international break comes for the second one in the season. And that's what we needed to keep doing. It's our 8th successive win now in all competitions, 6 out of 6 in the league, of course, and now 2 out of 2, 100% record in the Champions League. I agree, tonight we weren't great in terms of our performance. We didn't thoroughly convince once again, but I think as the season goes on, Valverde will understand his players better. I hope that certain individuals get better form, the likes of Rakitic, the likes of Suarez, possibly Piqué at times, though I think he got better as the game went on. Hopefully those players can improve their levels as the season goes on. We've got players to come back from injury, so certainly things can get better, and right now we're getting the results, so that's what we should focus on. I know the performance is a big factor, I understand that, and I completely completely agree. But I think as the season goes on, I do hope that better performances come and a lot of our squad can contribute a lot more. But on the night tonight, a 1-0 win, a solid display. We hung on there in the end. I think the defence tonight were absolutely outstanding. I think they deserve a special mention. The likes of Umtiti, Ter Stegen, Piqué, Alba, Semedo. I think all 5 of them at the back tonight really did contribute to that clean sheet. You know, it wasn't pretty at times, but they did exactly what they needed to do. Whether it was Jordi Alba, he was getting back in there, he was getting his head on a lot of balls that were coming into the box. He matched Martins for pace. Then there was Umtiti, who was getting his body in the way of absolutely anything. There was a lot of key blocks in there for Umtiti. Piqué at times as well, making tackles, making clearances where they needed to be done. And of course Semedo on that right hand side, very balanced, kept his winger quiet, and he also gave us something going forward as well. So I think that defence tonight were certainly the standout players. They played very well, they got us the clean sheet, and like I say, in the end, 3 points have been won. We are top of the group. On to Las Palmas now at the weekend. It's going to be very interesting to see Valverde's selection and who he goes with in that game, but we have got a few days now to recover from this, because I do think we've worked hard tonight and the players are going to need a bit of recovery time in Portugal. But on the night, Barcelona 1, Sporting 0. I will have my player ratings video coming up for you guys very shortly indeed. But until then, as always, please leave your thoughts down below. I'll look forward to hearing them. But until next time, Vesca el Barça.